Good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining us for Get Into It with Taz and Chris. I always get them backwards. As many of you know, we had yet another intense school shooting.
Yes. Another. Seems bigger in Texas.
Yeah. So, as always, I've got a series of videos to show you all. We'll watch them all the way through. And once they're concluded, we'll come back and talk about them because there's a few. And if we break them up individually, there's no way we'll get through them all.
So you're telling me on a day where 19 kids are murdered in their elementary school, a decade after Newtown, and parents of those deceased kids are having to do DNA swabs because the kids are unrecognizable from the military-grade weapon that was used to kill them. Meanwhile, ICE is on site. And in a couple weeks, women's reproductive rights are going to be taken away from them. Remember, this is the same night that Marjorie Taylor Greene, destroyed her primary opponents. How are you not exploding with rage, America? I'm not here trying to promote violence, but I don't know. As a Canadian, I don't know how y'all are living under this and are going to continue to live under this. Y'all have to do something. I'm at a loss. I don't know, man.
When are we gonna do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of I'm sorry. I'm tired of the moments of silence. Enough. There's 50 senators right now who refuse to vote on H.R. 8, which is a background check rule that the House passed a couple of years ago. It's been sitting there for 2 years. And there's a reason they won't vote on it, to hold on to power. So I ask you, Mitch McConnell, I ask all of you senators who refuse to do anything about the violence and school shootings and supermarket shootings, I ask you, are you going to put your own desire for power ahead of the lives of our children and our elderly and our churchgoers? Because that's what it looks like.
So the Texas Lieutenant Governor appeared on Tucker Carlson tonight.
People who are going through this now, these parents and grandparents, they have to understand we're going to walk with them. Greg Abbott, myself, the legislature, Republicans, Democrats, Texans, 29 million of us, we're going to walk with them. But I see real faith, Tucker. And what do you have in the absence of faith? You have no hope. And I realize not everyone's a believer, and I understand that. I'm just telling you that it's times like this where you realize how strong your faith is. And some people realize for the first time they need God. And so I believe it, Tucker. What else? This was a country founded on faith, Tucker. And that's why together we have to come together as a people. Don't politicize it. Don't point fingers. We'll figure all this out afterwards, and we'll do better, and everyone will learn from it. But
how comforting. Not only did he appear on Tucker Carlson to push Christianity, he also said we shouldn't talk about it. It's too soon. At what point can we talk about it then? Because this is a regular occurrence.
So today, a woman who is running for office as a Republican in Florida tweeted that Uvalde, Texas is a frequent illegal border crossing site. Uvalde is 100 miles from the border. Right-wing, very large accounts on Twitter began to immediately tweet that the shooter was illegal. Sitting Republican House member out of Arizona, Paul Gosar, tweeted that the shooter was both a transsexual and an illegal alien. So the shooter was from North Dakota, and 4chan took pictures of a random trans person off of Reddit claiming that they were the shooter. So a sitting House member repeated a 4chan lie that person, who is very much alive, debunked themselves. Republicans are racist demons and nothing more.
Well, hey there, y'all. So in today's Blame Game news, Unlike everyone else in the free world, Republican lawmakers are bending over backwards to blame the horrific shooting that happened in Texas yesterday on everything except gun control. This bowl of soggy cornflakes is Ronnie Jackson. He's a congressman from Texas. Here's what he had to say.
I look back and I think about the horrible stuff that they hear when they listen to rap music, the video games that they watch from a really early age with all of this horrible violence and stuff. And I just think that they have this access to the internet on a regular basis, which is just, it's not good for kids. Wow, rap music, video games, and the internet all in one statement. MTG, on the other hand, went on an unhinged tweet storm, blaming everything from the lack of God in our lives, video games, medication, feminization of men, and women and trans people. They are garbage people.
I knew they was gonna come with this fuck.
Do you understand how sick you have to be to, in this moment, go to there and not to, why are guns so available to anyone? We are immersed in sickness, like legit, in sick people who are deranged. For real. These people are the national security crisis. The people who allow guns to be available to anyone. The people who support and perpetuate white supremacy. The people who allow police brutality to continue to just keep going and going and going. They are the national security issue. Disgusting.
Well, hey there, y'all. So in today's Someone Had to Say It news, y'all, if you don't know who this is, you're missing out. This is Ruben Gallego. He's a Democratic state representative for Arizona, also rumored to be primarying Kyrsten Sinema. He had strong words on Twitter after the horrific shooting in Texas yesterday when Ted Cruz told CNN, inevitably when there's a murderer of this kind, you see politicians try to politicize it. You see Democrats and a lot of folks in the media whose immediate solution is to try to restrict the constitutional rights of law-abiding citizens. Rubin tweeted, fuck you, Ted Cruz. You care about a fetus, but you will let our children get slaughtered. Just get your ass to Cancun. You are useless. 20 minutes later, he doubled down and tweeted, just to be clear, fuck you, Ted Cruz, you fucking baby killer. He came for Kyrsten Sinema, too. He said, unless you're willing to break the filibuster to pass gun control reform, you don't need to say shit.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sit down. You're out of line and an embarrassment. Sit down. Shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing. No, he needs to get his ass out of you. This taking place and talk to us over. This is totally predictable when you. Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue. It's on assholes like you. Why don't you get out of here?
Do you know that Scotland once had a mass shooting? I was about 5 years old, and I remember it. A gunman entered a Dunblane primary school, and he killed 16 students and a teacher. Within 2 weeks, the UK government got together, and they enacted strict gun laws. In the 26 years since they enacted those strict gun laws, how many school shootings do you think Scotland and the United Kingdom as a whole have had? 0. We don't have to live like this. We just don't.
Real quick, I'm tired of politicians pushing the narrative that the United States was founded and built on Christian values. The United States has never and still does not have a national religion, period. Protestant Christians came to the United States for religious freedom, and their descendants keep trying to do the same thing that caused their ancestors to flee their original land. Number one. Number two, we need more politicians like Beto, because that's how you do it. You don't let them just sit there and do this ceremonious thing instead of enacting actual change, but all the while claiming that they're pro-life. They're not pro-life.
No.
Because if you're going to battle so hard for a fetus, why aren't you fighting harder for those that are already born?
Right. I wouldn't even say they're pro-fetus. Their agenda has no humanity when it comes to this nation as a whole. When you're funding, when your pockets are filled from the NRA and other lobbyists, you're supporting domestic terrorism in all its forms, because you're not promoting something that will make things safer for all, or at least head in that direction. You're not even willing to come to the table. That means you're willing to accept this as, once again, one more thing that is, well, unfortunately, that's just something that happens here. That's not where we're at. That's not where the majority is at. There's people that I know that are on the other side of the aisle that also want people to sit down at the table. This agenda is coming from an area on the right where funding is keeping this thing running on the right. So it's hard to get somebody to come to the table on any issue when their agenda is to just say no. Whatever they say, we're going against. We don't care if 80%, 90% of the public in polls have said that this is something that needs to be done. Their agenda is, we're going to oppose everything that Brent has brought to the table. This is just one more case where we have death, we have blood-stained country, and we have a bunch of people that are unwilling to come to the table because of an agenda and because of money that's in their pockets to keep them from going to the table.
Yeah, they would rather use every incident as a stepping stool for their political gain and enact any change, because they keep shutting everything down and then going, it's Biden, it's the Democrats, it's right. BLM, it's Antifa. No, it's you. And real
I'm
quick,
surprised they haven't said this was AOC.
Yeah. I have one more video. It pains me that I have to show this video, but I do want everyone to remain safe. And because it seems like we can't take 2 steps outside of our front door and stay safe, please, please, please pay close attention. Invite your friends to watch this broadcast. Can't talk tonight. And once it's over, please share, even if it's just for the following information.
You're inside your favorite grocery store and you hear gunshots. This is what to do. Be prepared now. Inside of a closure, you're probably not going to know where the gunshots are coming from. In a clothing store, the acoustics might be a little better. But a big box warehouse or a hardware store, you very well could be running right into the shooter. The rules for this are run, hide, fight. Start for the service entrance in the back of the store. It is likely the shooter has started at the front. As you're moving, start thinking about things that could be used as a weapon. Sporting goods is an obvious choice, but what about the kitchen? Put your kids in the cart so you can move faster. Ideally, you'll have 911 on speakerphone, but be prepared not to be able to get a signal. If you're armed and you decide to fight, remember, responding police officers don't know the good guys from the bad guys. You're not fighting for yourself. You're fighting for your kids.
And let me add just one caveat. If you have melanin in your skin, and you have a legitimate CCW, let that be your last resort. Let it be you are face to face with that shooter before you draw your weapon. We have had too many instances where people who look like me were actually the hero and they were killed by responding officers. And the person perpetrating the crime was just walked off to jail. Please let it be the absolute last resort. And let me also reiterate something. Too often, we think about just one entrance and exit where we came in as customers and we want to run to the front of the store. Where is the shooter coming from? They're coming in that same entrance that you did. Legitimately, go to the back of the store, to a bathroom, barricade yourself in there. Go into the, employees only portion because there's going to be an exit through there. Go there. One thing that he did say that I do not agree with, do not have 911 on speaker because that is a beacon for you to be tracked down. Call them, but do not have them on speaker, even if you have to whisper. And if you are in the areas of the United States where 911 allows you to text, do so.
I would agree that the majority of those coming into an establishment will come from the front, just because the rear has a lot of exits that are, alarm triggered or handles are on the inside. That's where you can make your 911 call, is in the back, the rear of the store, whatever it is. And you can have some time, because more than likely they're not heading straight to the back and going to work their way up front. They're starting where they see first, because for whatever reason they're there, I'm sure they're on a time clock, and they're not heading to the back to work themselves back up. So rear of the store, rear of wherever it is, make your call from back there, get yourself some shelter, do what you have to do. It's the fact that we have to be talking about all this, and it's not the first, and unfortunately won't be the last. Everybody, you're looking at gun owners right now. And first thing I'll say is that those on the left, and I know a lot of us watching are not necessarily on the right, but being pro-reform doesn't mean we're pro-banning guns. There's a difference between reform and saying, we're going to go door to door and give me your gun. That's what the right wants you to believe reform will lead to. So they are going to pipe this thing as hard as they can to, well, if we start with reform, it's going to lead to, they're going to go door to door and take your guns, and everybody who wants to defend their home will no longer have a gun. And this is what propaganda, this is what is going to be done. This is what's going to be said everywhere. Campaign rallies, everywhere.
I mean, they're already pushing propaganda because they're banking.
They act like liberals don't own weapons.
Yeah, and they're also banking on the vast majority of United States citizens not actually reading and comprehending the Constitution of the United States, because they have convinced people for generations that the Second Amendment means you as an individual have the right to bear arms. Actually, it doesn't. It means that you as a collective have the right to be armed with weapons within a militia to either defend the United States or overturn the United States should the government of the United States become tyrannical.
Right. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean January 6th.
Right. But it doesn't say, hey, because I'm Taz and I'm an individual, I get to have as many guns as No. This clause was put in during a time where we didn't have the military and the police prowess that we have now. Right. And it was put in to be the ultimate checks and balance for the government. And instead of, and see, this is why they're tricking you and using propaganda regarding the Second Amendment, because if they told you the truth about the Second Amendment, with all the stuff that happened just in the Trump administration, we're not even going to go back through other administrations and their corruptions, but just the Trump administration, a full-on coup would have happened. Because militias would have formed and taken over Capitol Hill and the White House.
Right.
This is why they keep lying to you, telling you, oh, it's an individual right. No, it's not. You're supposed to bear arms as a part of a militia and be trained within that militia.
And not for that militia to betray the country. But that's what they do. That's how they're getting their candidates, because they're going to pipe that the left wants to take your guns. Apparently everyone on the left doesn't own weapons, according to them. And according to them, on the left
have weapons.
I was going to say, on the left, what do you have? You have gun owners, you have police officers, you have military person. They're on the left too. They're on the left. They're not all on the right. Not everyone who's pro-guns is all on the right. But we are pro-reform. We're sick and tired of stuff sitting on the table when more than 80% of the public, regardless who you might affiliate with, are for. They're for this stuff. They're for people coming to the table. They're for making changes. They're tired of thinking that, wow, this school got shot up. I'm worried about my own child. I'm worried about someone else's child. We're all worried about not just children, adults. We're worried about everybody, because it's not just schools getting shot up. You got workplaces getting shot up. You got other things getting shot up. You got libraries getting shot up. And it goes right back to usually AR-15s, assault rifles. When do you go to the range with an assault rifle? When do you go hunting with an assault rifle? When do I need that in my home if a burglar comes in, an assault rifle?
And as somebody who's done a lot of hunting, it was how me and my granddaddy bonded. Don't judge me, okay? And it was quite fun to me. I might need to bring that up to my therapist, but I digress. The first rule and the number one rule that my grandfather and my uncles and my dad taught me is, one, when hunting, shoot for the head, because you don't want to mess up the meat.
Right.
That's the whole point of you hunting, is to get the meat. And don't use a gun with ammo that's going to disperse.
Mm-hmm.
And don't use anything automatic or semi-automatic, because animals run.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're running and you're shooting automatic or semi-automatic, you've wasted your day. You've started at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you finally get that buck and you're like, oh, I got this. They're right in my sight. And then you mess it up. What are you going to do with an AR-15 out hunting? Nothing. You can't even be a souvenir hunter, because it would mess up what you would need to get taxidermy to hang up on your wall.
It's for mass shooting of objects that aren't really moving or not moving fast. If you're hunting, you go for a clean shot. It doesn't mean you're spraying the force, because everything else is going to run away. They're hearing all this shot. They're gone. Your hunting day is over after that.
And AR-15s are not silent weapons. Even if you, and I used to live around some good old boys, and they're like, oh, I made a homemade silencer for this. There were farms we could go to for target practice. And I'm like, oh, you made a silencer? Saturday, let's go. That's not silent.
Right.
It's not silencing. Now, I know a silencer doesn't like make the shot whisper. I get that.
Right.
I know. I've used silencers. I've not used silencers. But my thing is, it really doesn't deplete the sound. Who are you creeping up on with it?
Right.
And even if you say, well, I need an AR-15 to protect my home, you're going to do more damage to your home than the burglar would.
Yeah. Yeah. Your home will be like Swiss cheese.
But since we've had some bad news, let's get into some good news. Well, depending on what side of the bench you stand with this particular person, I personally think that it's good news.
I thought it was news about me. Oh. Darn it.
I can't with you.
I'm the resident ginger.
But I think you'll be happy about this. Coming from Reuters. This is an exclusive. Former NFL quarterback Vic, coming out of retirement, Michael Vick, the once dynamic NFL quarterback whose involvement in a dogfighting ring halted a breathtaking career in its prime, has agreed to come out of retirement to join Startup League fan-controlled football, a source told Reuters on Friday. Vick, a former first overall draft pick who last suited up for the National Football League game in 2015, will make his debut on May 28th, the last day of the regular season, according to the source, who said in an official announcement is expected next week.
Okay. Number one, I like Vic as when they would bring him on to do his commentary. I'm happy for him, and know nothing about the league and what their rules will be and all that. That's something brand new. But hey, to each their own. If he's motivated to do this, and I'm sure having his name attached it will help them dearly, especially for a startup.
He's a little bit older, but I know that he wasn't too happy when he retired.
With the
so
Steelers.
it's kind of like, I didn't exactly like Michael Jordan playing baseball, but at least he got to fulfill a dream of his, so I was happy about that. He sucked, but I was cool with it.
Yeah, and he filled up the seats big time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but in other football news...
Well, what's your football news?
Breaking news today. Kaepernick has a workout with the Raiders. So we're going to keep hope alive.
This is what we love to hear, and we've got more good sports news. This is coming from The Independent. Female referees to officiate at Men's World Cup for first time. Excuse me. I guess they don't want me to read this article. Female referees have been selected to officiate at a Men's World Cup finals for the first time. Stephanie Frappert of France, Salima Mukansaga from Rwanda, my apologies if I messed up either of the names, and Yoshimi Yamashita from Japan have been included on FIFA's official list of 36 referees for the tournament in Qatar later this year. Congratulations, ladies. You know what?
Awesome. We're seeing
ladies are doing it this year. Look at us.
Now that's international. I mean, we've seen this now in NFL, NBA, baseball. I'm trying to think if baseball's there yet. I don't want to jump ahead.
No, I don't think so.
But we're getting there. I'll say that we're getting there. Heading in that direction, which is better than not heading in a direction. We got assistant coaches on the sidelines in sports on men's leagues, which we're getting there.
Trainers, assistant coaches, I'm loving it.
We got position player coaches, which is even bigger. So we're heading in a positive direction. It's better than where we were, obviously. We were at ground zero. So this is positive. We have to take what we can when it comes to positive moves. Sometimes these steps aren't giant steps, but it is steps.
Yeah.
And just like in our own...
We got some more girl boss news before we get to this month's ad. This is coming from the Associated Press. Lee wins Democratic primary in historic bid for Congress. Coming out of Pittsburgh, Summer Lee has won a 5-way Democratic primary for a Pittsburgh-based U.S. House seat, making her the favorite in the heavily Democratic district to win the fall general election and become the first Black woman elected to Congress from Pennsylvania. Friday was the fourth day of counting ballots after Tuesday's primary in the closely contested race for the open 12 district seat. Yes. Look at that. You know what? We may still be in a panini press with another panini press wanting to attach itself to it. And we might be, in the ultimate Grand Theft Auto game over here in the United States, but we still got some good news. But
yes.
I'm going to run this month's ad. I also wanted to let you all know The GoFundMe for Young Merc Fire is in my link tree in my bio. If you can, go ahead and donate. It goes directly to the family. It was set up by the family. If you cannot donate, please, 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 please find him, Young Merc, MERC, Fire, on any social media platform. Click the links in his bio and go to the streaming services where his music is and stream it. That will also help him. But we'll see you in 2 and 2.
Like you lost another one.
Okay, you know, it wouldn't be a get into it with Taz and Chris if we did not have an Elon Musk update, and we got a couple.
The X-Force.
I think this has become our favorite topic.
X-Force, yes.
So, coming from Cron.com,
Tesla
report,
X.
Elon Musk exposed himself to SpaceX flight attendant, according to documents.
What?
Billionaire tech entrepreneur Elon Musk allegedly paid off a former employee through his aerospace company SpaceX after sexually propositioning her during a 2016 encounter aboard his private jet, according to a Business Insider report published Thursday evening. Now, quick follow-up, he did say, like, because he's turned into Trump on Twitter. He tweeted that I guess his member is unusual or has something unusual on it, which to me sounds like a STD or STI, but that's just me because my brain is a wonderland. But I'm like, dude, you paid this person off. You did something. But that's not the only update we have on Elon. Wait a minute.
Trench coat flashing.
Coming from the Business Insider, Elon Musk was dating Amber Heard and finalizing a divorce around the time he said to have sexually harassed a SpaceX flight attendant. Bro, you done got a whole new girlfriend and you propositioning people on a plane and you still ain't divorced? Oh, it's a good thing he wasn't never married to me, because if I would have found out about that, baby, I would be owning Tesla and SpaceX right about now. Talk about emotional damage. Yeah.
Wow.
Elon is, but since Amber Heard was brought into this, our second favorite topic, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial.
Oh, yes. See how that
today's events
from the Court TV VIP.
First of all, Kate Moss came through looking very Kate Mossy. Oh my God, chef's kiss. And Amber Heard let her narcissism show because she finally put on some real makeup and kind of let her hair almost down, and the look on her face, whoo, baby, the jealousy. But Kate Moss was like, no, Johnny Depp never pushed me down a flight of steps. We were in Jamaica. There was a rainstorm. He left before I did. I fell down the steps. I screamed. He ran up and asked me what happened. I told him. He picked me up, carried me back upstairs to the bed, and got me medical attention ASAP. She was asked, Did he ever lay a hand on you? Did he ever become violent with you? She said no. When it came time for Amber Heard's team and the judge was like, cross, they said no.
Oh, silent crickets.
And then we had a bunch of experts come through for Johnny's side that debunked everything the quack pipes that we talked about last night that Amber brought through. It got juicy. And the one female doctor that Amber is very visibly intimidated by, she came down and shut everything down. And then there was an airport worker that was on the scene when Amber previously beat up her ex-girlfriend at an airport. And that airport employee called into Johnny's team last night to say, hey, she's lying on the stand. I was there. I'm who called the police. And then Amber's team was like, oh, you just want to be on TV? She was like, no, I didn't want to be on TV. I was hoping that there was a way I could testify and not be on TV. And then when Amber said that they were at the little resort tent place, that Johnny Depp jacked up the room, and dude that owns it was like, no, there was no damage to the room. And the only person that was being violent or brutal was Amber Heard. So Heard's attorneys were like, you just want your 15 minutes of fame? No. Well, you know such and such on Twitter, don't you? He was like, no, I have no idea who that is. And she was like, well, you know, such and such talks to this person on Twitter. And he's like, you sound psychotic. I don't know either one of these people. Baby, it is getting juicy. And then they had the tech guy come in. And that was the first time that I could really understand everything that was going on in this trial, because I speak tech fluently. Okay. And they were talking about metadata and extracted or exited data, which I'm not going to break down here because then you all will be looking at me seriously like I'm Sheldon Cooper. And Ginger here already looking at me like I'm Sheldon Cooper. But basically, they debunked the pictures that Amber presented to the courts because, like I kept telling y'all, these pictures are not the originals, because what she did was transfer them from an Apple device to a Windows device in order to alter them.
Victory,
so yeah, baby.
Victory, Jack Sparrow.
It done got juicy. I mean,
Aquaman
this is why I don't even watch soap operas, but this is like my soap opera. We got everything. We got love triangles. We got fights. We got sibling rivalry.
But to hear when they were making Aquaman that they had to literally like edit chemistry between Jason Momoa and her. So
oh yeah, I almost forgot to bring that up. Thank you, Chris. Here's the thing. She's trying to blame Johnny Depp for her role being reduced, and she was almost cut from the second movie, and it seems as though they don't want her for any other Marvel films. But it's not because of Johnny Depp whatsoever. It's because she can't get along with Jason Momoa, who, if you paid attention to Jason Momoa's career, gets along with everybody on set. Nobody's ever complained about him. Everyone loves working with him and everything else. But I do have a little bit of humor for y'all, and it's a little bit of a nerdy humor, and a little bit of sci-fi humor, but it does involve Amber Heard, and you know I like poking fun at her. Pokey poke poke. Here we go.
My dog stepped on a bee.
My aim's bad because I can't see. Aren't you a little short for a Wookiee? Oh look, it's some Death Star debris. I saw an Ewok over there by that tree. Would you mind? I'm having a wee. Oh no! It's Obi-Wan Kenobi! I'm gonna need to see some ID. Luke and Leia's relationship is a bit icky. I watched The Phantom Menace on DVD. The Mandalorian is better than me. Oh yeah, choke me, daddy.
Oh my goodness.
I had to. One of my followers on TikTok sent it to me. It was like, I know you would enjoy this. And I was like, I have to include this tonight. I have to.
Yeah. And of course, that's what Wednesdays are for.
Yeah. Oh, did I see the lawyer from TMZ? Yes, I did see the lawyer from TMZ. Poor little Tink Tink tried his hardest to fight for TMZ so that they wouldn't have to say that Amber Heard sold that video to them, and that's why they own the copyright of Johnny Depp slamming cabinets. Now, some people are like, well, what are they afraid of? You need to go back through the archives. And even if they scrubbed it, us techies know. You know about the Wayback Machine. If you go there, You can pretty much pull this. This is why we say the internet is forever. You can delete something. We know how to go back and retrieve it. Because of the way they put a negative light on Johnny Depp and painted him out to be a domestic abuser because he was slamming cabinet doors out of I've slammed cabinet doors out of frustration, and I've been the only person home. I've been working on projects, gotten mad, got up to go make a cup of coffee, take my mug out and it slam it, and I'm not hitting
Saw
anybody.
a spider and slammed it.
But the judge didn't go for none of that and was like, that reporter doesn't even work for TMZ anymore. Bring him on in. We're going to talk to him and we're going to get to the bottom of this. Because if this video was solely on her iPad, how is it now under the ownership of TMZ? But also regarding Amber Heard, coming from the New York Post, Amber Heard still under investigation in Australia for perjury over dog debacle. I told y'all about this. As she battles her ex-husband in Virginia court, Amber Heard remains under investigation for perjury in Australia for illegally bringing her and Johnny Depp's dogs to the country, authorities recently confirmed. A spokesperson for Australia's Department of Agriculture, Water and Environment told Newsweek this month that the 36-year-old actress is being investigated there for allegedly lying under oath, which we know she does with ease. The department is exploring allegations of perjury by Ms. Heard during court proceedings for the 2015 illegal importation of her two dogs into Australia, said the Aussie official, who could be immediately reached by the Post Thursday. Meanwhile, legal experts told the Daily Mail there's a possibility Heard could also face a perjury probe in the UK since she admitted to the Fairfax, Virginia court that she did not donate her entire $7 million divorce settlement to charity and previously told the UK High Court she had. So far, no such investigation has been confirmed, but we know in the UK, they don't tell you you're being investigated till they're there to arrest you. So they could be deep diving into her whole life right now, and nobody will know until they're ready to extradite her. That's just how the UK seems to operate.
They go deeper than what they did in Aquaman.
Now, the FBI has a new rule. You're not going to believe that this is a new rule. You would probably think that this has been an existing rule because it makes sense, but you need to realize in the United States, if it makes sense, ain't nobody doing it. Here we go.
Well, hey there, y'all. So in today's This Shouldn't Have to Be Said news, y'all, the Department of Justice has updated its use of force policy for the first time in 18 years, telling federal agents they have a duty to intervene if they see other law enforcement officials using excessive force. It seems like that would be common sense, but we all learned by watching what happened to George Floyd that it's not. The new policy is outlined by Merrick Garland in a 4-page memo addressed to the heads of the FBI, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the DEA, the U.S. Marshal Service, and the Bureau of Prisons. Federal officers will now be required to intervene and stop any excessive force by any officer. This also includes rendering medical aid as appropriate where needed. It shouldn't have to be said, but here we are.
Now, you would think this was already a thing.
No,
but
the brotherhood is a thing.
That part.
They are not stopping somebody when they're going to get so-called put on a list within their other fellow officers as this is the one we need out of here because they're the ones that are like going to tell on us, and you're not going to do it. This has gone on forever. Go all the way back in time with police, with feds, with agents, whoever. As soon as you stand out and try to do the moral and right thing, you become the minority, and they will oust you in their own way. So there has to be something that is sweeping and thorough, and I don't know how it's going to penetrate this long-standing fraternal order but yeah, it'll take a mountain.
And honestly, I think this is Garland's way of, since they're still sitting on the George Floyd bill, this is his way of kind of backdooring it a little bit.
I mean,
We're not going to full out prosecute police officers. And we know, yes, there's a fraternal brotherhood, but there's also a lot of tension between police officers and the FBI. They love to bump heads.
Always.
And to say that the FBI can now come in and tell you, hey, this is excessive force, back off.
Right.
I feel like that's Garland's way of backdooring the George Floyd bill.
And we know there's also a lot of conflict within the police force because there are many men and women that signed up to do the right thing, period. And they know they have to work at times with people that they clearly know are not on the up and up. For whatever reason, they're not on the up and up when how they conduct themselves. And so, yeah, unfortunately, we lose the good men and women because they can't stand to work with people like that. Just like any job, you know, it's usually the good ones that don't like their environment they're working in. And it's not so much about the work, it's about their co-workers.
Mm-hmm.
And this, once again, is why we lose a lot of good men and women out of the police force.
Well, just like, for some reason, her name eludes me today. But there's a former police officer who's a Black woman who was denied her pension after being forced off of the force.
Mm-hmm.
She worked enough time to get her pension. She had not broken the law, not broken any rules. The thing of it is, she did intervene with another officer who was being excessive. She is fighting and lobbying hard for a police registry so that police officers that are corrupt cannot get fired from one district, drive 20 minutes, and get hired by another district.
That part.
Because that is what's happening. Now, I'm not saying CPD, and by CPD, I mean Cincinnati Police Department, is the best. But it is one police department. DMAC is joining us. One police department.
Oh my God. There's a sighting. We have a sighting.
I have worked with Cincinnati Police Department for a couple different things. And I do have a relative, it is no secret, that currently works for Cincinnati Police Department. But one thing that they do well, and I've watched it happen in real life, because I know someone who desperately wants to be a police officer. They need to be nowhere near the badge. Do you hear me? Nowhere near the badge. They have some complexes and some issues, and they are trying to use the position of police officer to overshadow their insecurities and inequities. They have passed everything else for years. They cannot pass the psychological evaluation. And that's what needs to happen.
But like you said, they can't go from place to place. I mean, we're talking about what's going on in the Catholic Church, where you move a priest to another town after they've been talked to. I mean, we go through this. They just find some rural town where they can, you know, go and harass people and knock them around, get away with it.
I know you had some insight.
Are you done with me?
Oh, there you are. Go ahead.
So no, as you saw in my comment, the two comments I left, it's the whole reason that the FBI and the police don't get together is because of the whole Serpico thing. That was honestly the start of the whole shade and shenanigans with them. Because as soon as that RICO investigation busted that police corruption shenanigans wide open, which that family still has to hide to this day.
And every time I tried to research it, I really think, and once again, this is a theory of mine. I have discussed this theory with DMAC. I don't want y'all to be like, tested it on her podcast. It's a theory, okay? Because I am very enamored by the Serpico case. These two gentlemen know this. I think they've moved out of the country. That is my theory. I cannot prove it because they've been hidden so much. They don't even have the same names anymore. But I honestly believe that they moved out of the country because, one, first of all, no matter how many times you change the name, the father, Serpico, has a very distinguishable face. He's not like a Whitey Bulger who could just move state to state and live for decades because he just looked like average white dude. No, and the family genes are strong, not strong, strong. That's just my theory. That's what I think. And I was going to bring that up, but then I saw your comment and you wanted to come on. So I was like, you know what?
Is that official? Strong?
Strong.
It's like
that's crackhead strength, okay? That's meth head strength. When you can smoke or inject household cleaners into your body and you ain't dead, that's a different level of strength. That's like zombie strength, okay? That's strong, okay? You ain't gonna find that in the dictionary, just like you ain't gonna find a crackhead.
You might find it coming out of the Commonwealth.
I mean, seriously. But I think we have a comment.
And see, that's my theory too. And there are some message boards out there that are saying the same thing. I know.
See, here's my thing. Okay, so I don't know, Chris, if you've seen the show The Closer.
I may have glanced at it.
Trust me, revisit and you'll get what I'm talking about right now. So there's a season. There's the second season of this show.
Wait a minute. You just criticized me for not knowing a movie, a movie that was made when I wasn't even out of the womb. But you don't know that one of the greatest of all time.
It's Stanley Kubrick.
Which one?
Do you not?
I can't see the shirt.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, there it is. Oh, you never saw Clockwork Orange?
You see? That's what I was saying.
All I said was you never seen it. I didn't go into you. I'm sorry.
She's seen The Shining, 2001, Full Metal Jacket, but not Clockwork Orange.
I didn't know the movie existed, okay? First of all, I don't know how much I research stuff. That's usually where my head is. Anywho, go ahead.
Anyway, so in season 2, the very finale, it's a 2-part episode. And what's discussed in there is the literal dislike that the CIA, the FBI, and the local police have for each other. Like, it is like persona non grata.
Three political parties.
Yeah, because when Brenda got engaged to an FBI man, to a G man, as they used to refer to him as, woo!
Yeah,
I mean,
three
they had to
parties.
take a couple episodes to get everybody to cool down up in the precinct. Like, you did what, Brenda?
I mean,
Brenda, you dating who?
Well, I think they made more of a I think her boss made a more of a reaction for that, because
not even her friends was like, we like Fritz, but we liked him because he stayed out of our way. But he's still FBI, Brenda. Brenda, we about to spike your wine, Brenda. What you doing, Brenda? No more wine or Hershey's Kisses for you, Brenda. Because it was after that, when she got engaged to Fritz, there's one thing that I realized. Her candy drawer wasn't as stocked as it used to be. I'm like, they still in that woman candy. Then there was 2 episodes where she couldn't even find her red wine. I said, ooh, they shady. They going out buying all the red wine just because she gets some FBI ping.
Put on the list.
But no, it just shows the because, like, even now, as we find out in that episode, she used to work for. She was an investigator for the CIA before she went to the Atlanta police and then went to the LA police. And so,
trying to hide that from everybody for her.
Well, working for the CIA, she has to sign a non-disclosure when she leaves there. That's That's what they do.
I
You
know, but
can't talk about
but
you
me,
can't talk about Bruno. You can't talk about Fight Club. You can't talk about the CIA after you leave.
trying to pull her back in, like, you working on this case, but we need the information too. She's like, I can't do it. And she's like, oh, I'm Bruno. Don't talk about me, but you gonna still do it. Why I gotta do it? Remember that one case I put you on and you did that one thing that you weren't supposed to do, but you said I
This
could
is
do
like
it
a
and you was
one
gonna
act
make
play.
it
You can
legal.
just have one.
Oh no. I said I was gonna do it because I was gonna come back and collect this favor. I hate
Turning
you.
red. She's turning
I
red.
hate you too, Brenda, but we got to work together. You want that red wine, don't you?
She's turning red.
Okay, so back to what I was talking about. Good Lord. So basically, you see her playing three sides of the fence, and then by the time we get to the tail end of the episode, she's just like, there's always two particular parties that you're literally worried about. You got the king, and you got the church. And most of the times, most of the times, the people who get caught in between the middle of this battle always are the innocent people who are trying to stay out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, sometimes you got to sit on that sideline. Sometimes you just got to sit on the sideline. And then sometimes that gray area that you have to find yourself in,
mm-hmm.
you can't stay there. You gotta play the game. So she says, today we playing for the king, and we gotta do what we gotta do. So I can understand the fact that sometimes the police don't like the whole jurisdiction shenanigans when it comes to federal and state and all this mess, because they even do it with the state police. I'm just like, wait, they're in your state. What's the difference?
Right.
Wait, do you all? I'm asking this because sometimes I say stuff to people because I do live in a Commonwealth, and they're like, that don't exist here. Do y'all have county police?
Our county is our state. They're the same in where I am. So,
what about you, Chris? Do you have county police?
Yeah, there's county police, but actually in Charlotte you have a combination of city and county. So you have Charlotte Mecklenburg, which Mecklenburg is the county it's in. So you have Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department. So it's
city
and county.
You have your city
outside of the city of Charlotte, you have counties.
So you have the city police, the county police.
Well,
the
county police, and you do have town police, city police.
Yeah, you have the sheriff,
combination,
and then you have highway patrol, which is its own whole different thing. Because, well, Chris, you know this. I used to live catacorner to the high. They put highway patrol and the sheriff's office in the same parking lot, and baby, y'all, that was entertaining. I would just be sitting there like, they really fighting, but they don't get along. It's like there's a hierarchy. It is like a high school hierarchy. It's like the regular police are like the freshmen, and then it goes up from there. And they let it be known. They let it.
Well, the town I work in doesn't even have a police department. They use the local sheriff from the city over.
First of all, I can count on one hand how many times I've seen my cops down here. And if you really want to see our cops, either go to City Hall because they all park there and they
or go to Mitch's house.
They don't even go to Mitch's house because when they was protesting outside
Cameron's house.
When they was protesting outside of Mitch and Cameron's houses, didn't nobody show up for quite a few hours, but y'all didn't hear that from me. But there is a bakery near here that they go get sandwiches from.
So I would say this, and I'm gonna make this as plain as I can. I know you said they were freshmen. Let's put it this way. Those are the desk jockeys. The regular city police there. Those are the desk jockeys. Those are the people who do the lay work at the end of the night. Whereas you got the state police who are like the detectives there. It's literally, because if you look at it, you got your detectives, you got your lay person, and then you got the higher ups who are sitting back collecting the check. And that would, no offense to the FBI, but that's y'all.
Yeah, it's just like here we have county attorneys, and you can go like me and I've had to do this. I can go to a county attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And they can represent me because I legitimately had to do it last year in a case. It's not legal aid. It is the legitimate county attorney. But when I was talking to somebody from an actual state, they were like, What county attorney? Like, if we have one, I
Like
know I can't go
Ohio?
get them.
Well, in Ohio, what is it? Is it counties, cities?
You have city police, suburban police, village police, highway patrol, sheriff's department. But the sheriff's department in Ohio can be tricky because part of the sheriff's department legally cannot pull you over on the street or investigate you because those sheriff's deputies work at the jails.
What's village police?
Well, in Ohio, they have villages. So those villages have police departments.
Like towns, small towns? What?
Like a legitimate village.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that.
Good Lord.
Like, I grew up in a suburb of Cincinnati. That suburb has its own police department, has its own court system, its own magistrate.
Yeah, a town.
No, there's a difference between a town, a village. Yeah, there's differences.
Okay, I'm gonna
Just
have
like
to.
there is a suburb that's in the middle, smack dab in the middle of Cincinnati, but it's a suburb. Don't ask me how that happened. And trust me, if you look like me, you do
So
not
the
want
address is still Cincinnati.
No, it is not. It is not. This is why it's tricky.
Came up with this stuff.
This is why it's tricky. And when you see certain people who grew up in or still live in Cincinnati roll their eyes at certain people, because people will just blanketly be like, yeah, I live in Cincinnati. I'm from Cincinnati. No, they've never touched Cincinnati city limits. They're in a suburb. They're in a village off somewhere. They just say Cincinnati because if they say Lima, Ohio, or Pequot, or Silverton, or Westchester, you wouldn't know where they are. You can't find them on a map. So it's easier just to say Cincinnati.
So we can't say it takes many villages to make Cincinnati.
Maybe.
You can. But that is our show for the night. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. There are some topics we did not get to tonight, but as always, y'all know I'm going to deliver. I will break them down for y'all tomorrow. As
Maddie
always,
Cawthorne.
there is a story about Maddie Cawthorne that we will touch on tomorrow.
You mean Matilda? You mean Matilda?
We didn't get Maddie Cawthorne in on Ginger Night.
You mean Matilda?
Well, hold on. The story. Well, it's a quick story.
Guns on planes.
Wait a
There
second.
No more snakes on planes. We got guns on planes.
Hold on. We can squeeze it in real quick because it's not that long of a story. But coming from Business Insider,
yes.
Madison Cawthorne vows to expose fellow Republicans following election defeat. It's time for Dark MAGA to truly take command.
Like the Sith.
Okay, I'm gonna be serious. Wait a minute. I gotta read this to you.
They're below the Sith.
See, I was sent this article and started reading a little bit of it towards the end of a conference call that I was on, and I had to put it down and finish the conference call and then go back and read it because, okay, fresh off of a primary election defeat that saw members of his own party and even some former supporters turn their backs on him, 26-year-old Republican Representative Madison Cawthorne of North Carolina is vowing revenge. What else would a 26-year-old do? This is why 26-year-olds shouldn't even... Never mind. After declaring that the best is yet to come, 2 days after he conceded defeat to State Senator Chuck Edwards, the first-term lawmaker posted a graphic on Instagram that he says includes the lion's share of figures that came to my defense when it was not politically profitable. The list included Fox News host Tucker Carlson, Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, Matt Gaetz of Florida, and Paul Gosar of Arizona.
Whoa, the A-team.
The National Rifle Association and various other right-wing media.
The dark side has cookies.
He said, when the establishment turned their guns on me, when the Uni Party coalesced to defeat an America First member, very few people had my back, said Cawthorne. These are the honorable men and women who are the type of friends anyone yearns to have.
It sounds like a potty.
Okay, hold on, Chris, hold on. I'm gonna need to say this before I forget. So, Matilda, darling, I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you to explain to me why you thought that when you decided to spill all this tea out here in the streets, that every other Republican who had been backing you was going to still back you, except for the ones who are crazy, stupid, alleged rapists, alleged planners of insurrections and things like that. If you didn't think that the crazies weren't still going to follow you, and the people who are actually trying to save their jobs were going to still follow you after you spilled massive amounts of tea and had photos to back it up, girl. I was just like sitting here sipping slowly. I was like, yes, spill the tea, honey, spill it. Spill it. I need
Like
the
the
tea.
Boston Tea Party.
It wasn't the Republicans that brought him down. Yes, he spilled some major tea on the Republicans, but it is a new pack called Muckrakers of America. I did a whole show on them. It wasn't the
I know that, girl. I'm just saying they just left him high and dry.
the Muckrakers, because let's not forget what I covered last night. The Muckrakers are now one by one going after all these problematic people. They're now going after Lauren Boebert.
Oh,
because
good.
they are tired of the shenanigans and the utter shit show that the GOP has become. They're like, look, we know you're racist, we know you're bigoted, be that, but all of this QAnon bull crap, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so see, here's my thing, because there's two more things, and then I know we got to go. One, your husband has literally been convicted and charged as a rapist, Miss Boebert. Hello?
Yeah.
Is this thing on? I'm just.
She didn't get her GED until right before she was sworn in. Not before she ran. Not before she was elected. Before she was sworn in.
So that's the one thing I'm gonna need you to stop saying you're a family person, because you're not. Your man literally exposed himself to 2 teenage girls.
And he's a felon,
It's
which means
documented.
he can't be around firearms. He's a felon. He can't be around firearms, and he can't be within so far of children. So how is he in the house even with his own children? And how do they live so close to a school? And how do they own a family-friendly restaurant that he frequents often? But I hear the food is trash. You're going to get food poisoning.
Girl, I'm telling you.
I'm not lying. I've seen the reviews. People have legitimately gotten food poisoning. I'm not being petty or facetious. But she puts out a family picture, minus her husband, with her children holding guns. She did a whole interview with guns behind her.
We know that.
Her husband lives in the house. That is illegal.
Not for them, it isn't, apparently.
But that was Christmas
But
cards.
I mean, for somebody who may or may not have come across her husband's PO's information and may or may not have sent screenshots, who knows? Maybe that's why she removed all the guns from her house. I don't know.
I think he was instant messaging AOC, and that got others.
Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene ain't no better. She's in there talking about this shit because there's a lack of God. Girl, you've been cheating on your husband since the day that you died. You just stole from your donors to get a luxury SUV that you are now doing all your interviews in. You and Bobblehead Boebert, shouts out to Double D Mother for that, need to chill. But final thoughts on the night, guys?
Chris, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna say this, Mr. Gates, you're on the list. You are on my docket. Just be prepared for this, because it's not gonna be a cute day for you. Miss Lauren, I've already discussed you, and I've literally made your life a living heck, because at this particular moment, that video is still up and it's still doing numbers. So, hey, if people go over there and make your life a havoc, that's not my problem. And Miss Marjorie Taylor Greene, I have discussed you in the past, but I think I need to do a part 2, because obviously what's clicking on in here is really nothing. So I'm a little worried that you're in office, and I hope the people in Georgia, which yesterday was voting day, by the way. I hope everybody got out and voted in Georgia, and I hope they voted your behind out, or to be kicked off of that ballot, so that you can't be elected. And Georgia, if you didn't come through, because we loved you when the presidential election came along, and we had Stacey Abrams, and she managed to flip the whole thing because she said she was going to give y'all a couple of seats, but you said no, you wanted the whole thing. So she said, fine, I'm just going to take the whole state. Now what? What you going to do now? And like I said, Stacey Abrams, if you're listening, if you run for president, I will help you. I will do everything in my power to get you elected. I will make my whole entire TikTok channel your stats, what you can do, what will be done, what will get done. I will literally dedicate my whole channel. I'm not playing. And Miss Obama, just in case you're listening to, if you decide to be her running mate, I would like that. Thank you.
Nice plug. Yeah, MTG should never be on any ballot. She shouldn't be up for local librarian or nothing.
Can she even read?
I don't think she could even do a drive-through.
Again, can she even read?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No. According to QAnon, no. But Q sent her. So, for me, I'm going to go all the way back to where we are right now and scream that reform must happen. Gun reform must happen. We are all sick and tired. And I'll say that Steve Kerr of the Golden State Warriors summed it up for the majority of us. Thank you, Steve Kerr. You summed up what we're all feeling. Reform must happen. People need to come. Adults need to come to the table. I know there's many adults that do not want to go to the table, and they're acting like they're in a schoolyard. But yeah, we need adults at the table that are actually going to take this serious and have gun reform.
And Chris Murphy, shout out to my Senate leader. Thank you for saying what should have been said on the Senate floor, because I'm getting tired of the folks. I'm getting tired.
He did.
He was upset. I was scared.
He was. He was.
I am going to say this in conclusion. For those of us that have taken the time, taken the money, taken the effort to learn how to, and are actively writing bills and assembling people to lobby for them, support us. And I'm not talking about financially. We get attacked so much. Support us. We know that people aren't going to like us. That's why they come to you to try to change the narrative about us to you. Because they feel like if we lose support, we're going to stop what we're doing. We started this with no support. This ain't going to stop. Also, next week with Get Into It and Taz and Chris, I told y'all before, they finally let me in to Trump's social media app. Now, they think that I'm a white woman. I'm not going to tell you what my name is on there, but they think that I am a white Trump. We are going to go through what's behind the wizard's curtain.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of wizard that is, but.
And also, there is revamped Pride merch coming out next week. There's new designs for Pride and Juneteenth and other merch coming out.
And it's not ice cream from Walmart.
You got that right. And once again, just to remind you all, the GoFundMe link for Young Merc is in my bio. It is at the very top. If you cannot donate, please find him on social media. It's Young Merc, MERC, Fire. Go to any of the platforms that stream his music, and please stream his music, because that will also help him. And even if you just have items that you feel like you can send to him, it was confirmed today that a P.O. box is being set up, so you will be able to send those items. Do what you can. If I am able to find out the P.O. box address, I will add it to the link tree and let you all know. But as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. Till tomorrow.